Hello everybody, how are you? This is Fanny Menardi. I hope you're having a great day. Welcome for this episode 16 of the United series. So when I started my application process, I thought I was going to make just one or two videos, and in the end I applied for 7 jobs, and that I hope this one is going to be the good one. But I ended up making 15 video, and they have 17 global goals. So even though I didn't follow exactly the order, I think I covered pretty much all of the topics. But I want to finish this next 2 video today and the next one with really specifically the goals. Okay, so goal number 16, peace, justice, and strong institution. So today I would like to make a special about our leaders. Okay, so 6 men that I would like to present and talk about that represent our institutions. And in the Tablets of Emerald, this is my my predilection book. They talk about a light that would shine among men to restore like the peace among men, and I really feel like, why do I feel so more connected to men? First, because women are always not welcoming and nice with me, so I work most favorably with men. I have more maybe masculine energy or strength just because I yell at everybody. I don't know why. Anyways, I made this whole application progress about me and what I can bring to the UN or to the society. But today I really want it to be about them and talk to you about their biography and what it takes also to come to the head of an institution. Because when I read their biography, I was like, wow, if I get this job, I will be lucky to be there at 37 years old. When you see that it took them maybe 60, 70, I don't know, 60 years for the president, 80 years, to get there. So of course, these are men or even people in leadership position like Miss Amina Mohammed, who is the Deputy Secretary General. She's also a woman, but these people, usually they're not doing that, I believe, for the recognition. They're all people who really are concerned and committed for the people. So maybe in their youth it started like me, or as people who love to travel, who were interested in cultures and stuff like that. And by traveling the world, you start witnessing cultural disparities, you start noticing conflicts, you start noticing things, injustice, and some people that are empath, I believe, are more concerned, because you can literally feel what other people are feeling. And if someone does something to someone else, it's like an attack to yourself. Okay, so you can't just say, oh, it doesn't concern me, that's not my problem. You see an injustice and then you take it personally because you feel responsible. This is called solidarity, this is called empathy. This is what the world needs nowadays, to have people who care for others like they care for themselves. Okay, so today I'm gonna introduce 6 people that are very important to my life. So I'm going to start with Mr. António Guterres and Mr. Miguel Moratinos, who are the Secretary General of the United Nations and the High Representative of the United Nations, because I want to work with them, so they will have the honor of starting. And then I would like to talk about the president, Joe Biden, of course, and Tony Robbins, that I wish will become the next president of the United States, and say why. Of course, why do I support the president we have right now, and why am I for another man to come after? So I'm going to explain all of that. You see, you can support both. And of course, last but not least, I will make a presentation about my mentor and friend, Dean Graciosi, because thanks to him, all of my journey, all the content I produced and all of that, even though I really felt like I was put in jail for so many years, I created, when I read the biography of everybody, I feel like I have the background that corresponds and that I'm able to actually bring something like they did in such a shorter amount of time, because I was focused and mentored and pushed, to get there faster. So shortcutting your road to success, and mostly, of course, I want recognition. Like everybody, you want to leave your print into the world, otherwise your life isn't meaningful. Mostly if you've studied, you have experiences and you've struggled, you're like, when is my time coming? But also because being at a high level like this, I feel like all this content that I created and I talked about in the previous videos could finally be available for so many people who actually need it. And in the next video that is about partnerships for the goals, I will talk to you about all the organizations, like my catalog. I told you the encyclopedia is also like a catalog where I present several organizations where you can do your self-education and refer to find courses and stuff like that. I will present them in this next video. Partnerships for the goals. What is the goal? Peace, collaboration, and happiness. Okay? Because once you're happy and you want to collaborate, then you harmonize your goals together. That is health, of course, with the environment, preservation of the environment, and all of that. Okay? So let's start with Mr. António Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, who is right here in front of you, António Guterres, and Mr. Miguel Ángel Moratinos. Who are these men? What do they represent, and how did they get there? Okay, this is António Guterres right here. It must be a game-changing climate action. And of course, I forgot, I said 6 men, right? I also want to make a biography about Vladimir Putin, okay? I told you that I was gonna put everybody in a room and say we're not getting out of here until we reach for peace, which is the goal we're heading to. So hopefully I'm gonna tag all of them on Facebook, all of you, to watch this video and to maybe reach a consensus. Because between speeches, who is right and who is wrong, maybe we could just agree to make peace and stop invading each other's lands and focusing on what we can bring the best for our own land, and how we can exchange technologies, exchange ideas. See, they're doing the same thing. They're both building electric technologies, focusing on the environment. They're both preaching for peace and dignity. Okay, so how can we maybe, if these are war games, let's call it Olympics, right? The shooting Olympics, I don't know, the paintball, the bloody paintball Olympics, I don't know, but making sure that the people who are doing it are actually willing to the Hunger Games of the 21st century. And that's what it is, All right, anyways, I'm kidding. Of course, I'm not for killing. But, okay, so Mr. António Guterres, let's read his biography. I am on the website of the United Nations. But how old are you? I don't know, because when I see everything that he's done in his career, I'm like, how can one man do so much? That is crazy. By the way, I think I posted on my Instagram, did you know that António Guterres creating the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations? Actually, that was not right. He is the Secretary General, but it's his previous Secretary General, Kofi Annan, who created the UNAOC in 2005. Okay, so that was my mistakes. I'm sorry. I read it was created by the Secretary General, so I thought that was Mr. Guterres, but it's even more ancient than that. Okay, so he is the ninth Secretary General of the United Nations. Took office first on January 2017, so he's been in office for 6 years. Having witnessed the suffering of the most vulnerable people on Earth, from refugee camps to war zones, the Secretary General has centered his effort on ensuring human dignity for all. In a period of unprecedented global challenges, he has drawn on his commitment to the UN Charter to mobilize people and launch action to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, address the climate emergency, advance gender equality, and achieve ambitious 21st century reforms to enhance the organization's vital efforts to secure peace, sustainable development, human rights, and humanitarian aid. What I really love and appreciate about him is his sincerity. When you hear him talk in his speech, you really feels like he cares, that he's seen the world, he's seen the suffering of the people, and he's really their spokesperson, you know? And it's rare that you see someone in an assembly that is theirs to confront the oil company, the military, and all of that, and he goes to the school, Sciences Po, and tell them to keep your leader accountable, where most of the people, they tell you, no, listen to the government or you're going to jail. Okay, so it's another approach, and this is why they were created, to avoid the abuse of the government, also to be able to bring morals to, because don't forget that our leaders, they're humans as well. Okay, they too are empath, they too are grudges, and they too are imperfect. But the tablets of emerald also, they say, oh man, you should aim at perfection, for only thus can ye attain to the goal. Though you should know that nothing is perfect, or nothing is perfect. I don't know, nothing is perfect. Yet it should be thy aim and thy goal. Ceased again the voice of the nine, and into my consciousness the words has sunk. Now seek I ever more wisdom, that I may be perfect in law with the all. So this is right what we're doing right now, the justice. How can we bring justice? How can we say we're going to bring peace between Ukraine and Russia? We're going to negotiate a peace with the Russian president. You can't say, hey, you're a war criminal and you're going to go to jail if we stop the war. That's not going to bring the peace. At the same time, can we say we're going to be closing our eyes and turning the page on the war crimes? What is this saying to the families that lost children, you know? So this is the dilemma. How do we solve that? To have leaders finally agree on peace and say, okay, now what I'm offering you is redemption, because you're going to be the man that's going to be helping significantly, using your power and your military force that you've demonstrated was very powerful and long-lasting, just like Ukraine and the NATO alliance, to change the entire history of the world and contribute massively into the transition to environment-friendly technologies, but also the removal of the nuclear energy facilities, right? I think the only way that we can get out of this conflict without pointing fingers and trying to keep each other accountable for crimes and ending up in jail and having to go chase after who did what, okay, which is accountability, there's got to be redemption also, and earning the respect not just of your people but of the entire world. And for also American leaders to show that it's not just words but there's actions that are done as well, right, for the people who are calling for help, and that we're also changing our behaviors. We know that some stuff are challenging and difficult, so how do you actually unify to make things happen? For example, one personal example, but I thought if the masterminds had published my book, That would have been awesome to come to the United Nations and facilitate their work. Hey, look, we're working with this mastermind marketing professionals company. They're already doing that work for us. They're publishing the book. They're doing the marketing. This is promoting the message of everybody. So we get global outreach, which was one of the main goals of the United Nations, was massive outreach, right? So using a marketing company to do that guarantees to spread the message and bring all these peaceful leaders to the eyes, to the consciousness of an enormous, significant amount of people. While maybe they're thinking, yes, but if she has her book published by the United Nations, this is so much better. Yeah, this is so much more maybe glorifying that, oh, I've reached so high, but there is no above and there is no below. Okay, everybody, without the marketing, like I said before, without the eyes of the audience and the people, all the work that these people are doing and the voice, if it's just an assembly and you're not promoting the message, then there is no point. All the work is a waste of energy. And luckily, they're not wasting, because now you see the legacy that they're building. Finally, they're seeing it spread, and maybe seeing people, new generation, who want to take over and say, I got you. I know who you are. I know what you did. I know your goals. I'm going to work alongside of you for as long as possible. And when you finally are allowed to retire, because this guy, like the president of the United States, you know, at some point, he's done his entire career in politics. He's been through countless challenges and even family dramas and everything. And 80 years old, he's still there every single day making conferences and promoting kindness and such intelligence and altruism. I don't know, Jill and Joe Biden, they're such kind people, you know. When I see the critics, oh, these are whatever, you know, I'm like, just read their energy, you know. Of course, you get into politics, sometimes you have to be firm and maybe use some strategies like everybody, otherwise people will step on you. Okay, there is a difference between being kind and being naive and letting people step on you. Okay, you have to be strong and firm sometimes. So my solution for this conflict in Russia, like I said, is that they're using their redemption to say, okay, now we're not thinking about ourselves, we're thinking about unifying for the entire world to remove those nuclear weapons. This could not happen anymore. We cannot put pressure on a country to wonder every minute if someone interferes, if they're gonna have a global explosion, you know, or having bombs in their family. You want to destroy the country because you don't like the architecture? Then relocate the people and rebuild. Okay, instead of building weapons, rebuild beautiful architectures using the arts and honoring your neighbors' cultures as well. Let's keep going. So before joining, prior to being the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Guterres served as the High Commissioner for Refugees at the UN from 2005 to 2015, so for 10 years. He was already doing humanitarian work during some of the most serious displacement crises in decades, the conflict in Syria, in Iraq, South Sudan, Central African Republic, and Yemen. Man, this man must know everything, all the secrets in politics, and that led to a huge rise in humanitarian activities, right, at the United Nations. And the number of people displaced by conflicts and persecution rose from 38 million in 2005 to over 60 million in 2015. So 60 million people. Not only it's a work of raising funds for the refugees, this is the first step. Then you need the logistic to deliver the funds, provide assistance, immediate assistance, which is sanitary, alimentary, shelter, and all of that. But then what do you do with these people? Establishing a plan, a long-lasting plan of integration, either in a new location in their country or in another country, right? So visas, jobs. This is huge for millions of people. This is why solidarity and partnership is so essential, and this is why we have a role to play as well so much, because making people understand, if you're lucky enough to have a house with an empty room or empty apartments, it's your duty, okay, to have to put them available. Imagine if it was you would be all of a sudden losing everything, and you see this house that's empty in a neighborhood and there's nobody in there. You just come here once a year and you're sleeping outside. This is ridiculous, okay? But why people don't do that? Because people don't respect each other's space. I know it. I've had people here. They came, they destroyed everything. The kids, it's not their house. They don't care, okay? So I would suggest, they probably have it already. I don't know. I'm not in there. But I would suggest establishing very strong educational programs on cultural integration and logic, right? When you're getting to someone's house, you have an agreement. Also, we're giving you a shelter, we're giving you a house, but you have an agreement that you need to provide that kind of work, cleaning work, garden work, improvement, embellishment, I don't know, bring something from yourself, or at least not destroying, and that putting kind of conditions to it, right? When it's your own apartment, you do whatever you want. If you're renting, you have a security deposit, you have all this stuff in place. But I'm talking about people like me, to convince people to open their doors, to have people come into their house. And once again, if you're a millionaire, you don't want people to come destroy your house, but it's a little better, easier to say, oh, that's fine, I'll have someone come and fix it, than if you're struggling to meet both ends and you have people to come here and they're breaking stuff every minute, and it's seeking you as well, then it's not gonna last long. Okay, so the goal is long-lasting integration, long-lasting partnerships. Before joining the UN, Mr. Guterres spent more than 20 years in government and public service. He served as Prime Minister of Portugal from 1995 to 2002, during which time he was heavily involved in the international effort to resolve the crisis in East Timor. So he's been in the government of Portugal. He's been the head of the Refugee High Commissioner for the Refugee Department for 10 years, and now the Secretary General for 7 years. Then he was the president of the European Council in the early 2000. And served as a member of the Portuguese Parliament for 17 years. And he chaired the Parliamentary Committee for Economy, Finances, Planning, and later the Parliamentary Committee for Territorial Administration, Municipalities, and Environment. Okay, and in 91, 93, I wasn't even born yet, he was at the Assembly of the Council of Europe, where he chaired the Committee on Demography, Migration, and Refugees. How old are you? Like 200 years old? I'm just kidding. What is it? 40 years ago. 40 years ago, he was already working with the Council of Europe. Impressive, seriously. So he must have been, what, maybe in his 20s? For many years, he was in a socialist international, a worldwide organization for the social democratic political parties. He was the group vice president from 92 to 99, co-chairing the African Committee and later the Development Committee. He served as president for 1999 until mid-205. In addition, he founded the Portugal Refugee Council, as well as, oh man, do you ever take holidays? Portuguese Consumers Association on DECO, and served as president of the Centro de Ação Social Universitario. So I guess he was doing this when he was studying, maybe, or after his studies. in the early 70s. Wow. Oh, but he was born in Lisbon in 1949 and graduated from the Instituto Superior Técnico with a degree in engineering. He's fluent in Portuguese, English, French, and Spanish. Married to Catarina de Almeida Vaz Pinto and has 2 children, a stepson, and 3 grandchildren. See, I love to know the human aspect also. So he is 73 years old, going on 74 years old, and still rocking it and working. That is crazy. See, I'm so happy, I would be so happy to work and because I think these men, once they've done so much and they know so much about the history of the countries, and they've had such a network. Mr. Moratinos, when he was at the 9th Global Forum for the UNAUC last year, he was looking at the audience like, oh, I recognize my friends here, and I'm like, yeah, after all these years they have such a network that it must be difficult for them to say, who do I trust after me, to keep doing this legacy. Is the next generation going to be as conscious as that? That's my question when I think about my son.
Can I eat chips and Nutella?
How about pretzels and Nutella? I want some.
I like chips and Nutella.
That doesn't really go together, but you can try. Give me some pretzels and Nutella, please. And then I'm gonna make some lunch. When I think of my son I see teenagers, the other day there were teenagers walking in the street and they both had a phone and they were walking and they were not even looking where they were going. They were just like walking like this on TikTok. What happened?
Got in my eye.
A pretzel got in your eyes. You okay? Go rinse it with some water. I was like, is the next generation gonna know how to write? Are they gonna know? See, Amina Mohammed, she was saying, the Deputy Secretary General, she was saying, oh, I go to this school and these kids, they can't write, they can't read, And of course, my son, he knows how to read and everything, but with the Nintendo and the lack of attention span that they have and TikTok and everything, I'm worried. I'm like, are they going to be able to read a book, a big book, or to watch a video for 2 hours? Like, how are we going to guarantee the next generation? Because we had books. We didn't have internet. We didn't have cable TV. We didn't have smartphones. So, of course, it's a great advancement that we have. I was 14 when this came up. When I was in high school, that was very practical. But I'm also glad that during my childhood, I did not have it because I got to play outside. I got to play marbles. I got to play. For him, I really, really feel that it's taken away from him, his attention span, and it's blurring his brain and all that. So anyways, for, these men, to reassure them that we see their journey and we want to allow them to retire. So I'm not saying, hey, we're going to kick you out, but at some point you deserve to enjoy also the benefit of the life, the world you're creating, you've been fighting to create for all these years, and watch the legacy of the new people and how they're going to fight to defend your voice. And while you're stepping back and getting time to enjoy life as well, of course, nowadays, 70 years old is young. 80 years old, you see the president is going left and right and everything. Now people, my grandma, she's 94. She's going to be 94. People, they live until 100 years old nowadays. But still, that's a long time working. That's a long time. So, Mr. Miguel Ángel Moratinos. This man is the United Nations Under-Secretary General holding the post of High Representative for the United Nations Alliance of Civilization. He was designated by the UN as the focal point to monitor anti-Semitism, to anti-Semitism and enhance a system-wide response. He carries out his portfolio in addition to his other responsibilities. So he was the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation in Spain from 2004 to 2010. So what was he doing between 2010? Oh, I'm out of battery. And 2000. Esteban, baby? Esteban?
What?
Can you go get me the charger, the long charger for the phone, please?
I don't know because it's hard.
Okay, so we have a mystery. We don't know what happened to Mr. Moratinos between 2010 and 2019, but I could bet you that he was already working at the United Nations, maybe in another department, but he has committed his professional and political career to international relationships and development cooperation, notably as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of Spain from 2004 to 2010. Okay, he in the Security Council. I'm not going to read the whole thing because you can read. Okay, I'm just making a summary just to present all our leaders right now. And the highlight of his tenure was the organization of the historic Middle East Peace Conference in Madrid in 1992, when he was Deputy Director General for the Northern Africa and then Director of the Institute of Cooperation with the Arab World, and then became the Director General of Foreign Policy for Africa and the Middle East in the 90s. Okay, so that's a lot. So you see everything it takes in a career to do all that. I'm like, wow, yeah, I got a long way to go. You know, but imagine having the honor of working alongside of them and learning from all of their knowledge, all of their network, and bringing all of this information and masterminds and everything to, oops, yep, I got everything, health, politics, to bring that into the modern ways, right? We're using nowadays marketing massively and all of that. So really,
Mommy,
hopefully reopening the borders between
look at this.
Me and my network.
There. It goes all the way to there.
Yeah, Esteban, did you see that? I'm talking, baby. Thank you. And also between the borders of the country, like I said, what happens at the micro level is representative of what happens at the global level as well. So he was here is my answer. Following the end of his term in 2010, he engaged in parliamentary activities until November 2011, and he ran to be elected Director General of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization with an agenda aiming at mobilizing international action toward the struggle against hunger and poverty, the promotion of food security, and the right to food. Wow. And then he went to Qatar, and then he was at the high-level advisory panel for the president of the 67th session of the UN General Assembly. So yeah, when they watch us being so impatient, they must be laughing like, haha, ma petite cocotte, you got some way in front of you. Yeah, but we bring stuff to the table as well. Also, I think that we are able to go so much faster because we have such an access to information that they didn't have back then. Nowadays, from my house, without even going out, I know what's going on in Ukraine, I know what's going on in Russia. Back then, they didn't have internet, so the main part of their work intrinsically was already to find out the news, to relay the news, develop the partnerships, and all of that. They paved the way for us developing all of this network, all of this data of information and network and stuff that they've created for the past 20 years, obviously, 30 years. they paved the way for us to be able to do this in a year or 2 years and develop such a network and have access to the information tomorrow. Okay, so that's why maybe we're able to go a little bit faster because we have all this access, and therefore our footprint or impact is gonna within 10 years or 20 years is gonna be at huge different level, because it's gonna be complete switch in technology, complete switch of diplomatic relationships, right? They went to every single little conflict, every single country, finding out, how they work there, finding out how we can bring back this information to our communities, all of that. They did all the ant work, right? And now that they created all these connections, all these, like what Matthias Di Stefano is doing, right? The network. Now that this is created, we come in, we're able to bring all that, having access to information just like that, and bring it to global peace, global communication, and massive transformation in the partnerships for like NASA, projects like the Space Olympics, things that are gonna have massive impact on the environment. Okay, at the time it was great to say, oh yeah, we need to fight the oil industries, yeah, okay, we still need cars, we still need to go from place A to place B, we still need electricity. What is the alternative option? It wasn't available yet. Okay, so they were noticing, raising the alarm, ringing the bell, the alarm and everything on the matters. But now the technology has come, it's there, that now we're working on this transition, and it's going to be so much more efficient. We can implement, right? So for them, it's like the moment when, wow, now we have the solutions, they're right here. Now we just need to make sure that we're not sabotaging each other and the countries, that we can focus our influence and our knowledge and budget and all of that in implementing it. Right now you have solar electricity, so it's easier to say, hey, the oil industries, all right, we're gonna train your workers to transition and go train with the solar panels and everything. You're not gonna lose your job, you're gonna transition, okay? And then the nuclear facilities and all of that, but you're not going to the oil company and saying, hey, you all are gonna lose your job, you all are gonna lose your business. No, you're transitioning, you're offering an alternative solution. It's like saying to Vladimir Putin, hey, you're gonna stop the war and we're gonna come and put you to jail because the war crimes and the rest of the world thinks you're the number one enemy. This is not gonna work, okay? We're offering you that now, all right, we're gonna offer redemption and cool, I guess I am going to the market this Saturday. We're gonna offer redemption and to be the man. Imagine Vladimir Putin that says, all right, I will stop the war, we must stop killing despite of our grudges, despite of what was done to us, despite of history. It's like I'm thinking of me and my mentors at the same time, like, but despite of the grudges and what was done and the mistakes that were made and how painful it was, we're gonna offer to be these people in history who said, hey, these guys, they removed all the nuclear weapons, they went against the profit of the military, and they completely brought long-lasting peace in the entire world. Okay, so instead of being a war criminal, you're going to be the heroes in the history books that made the era of peace. Okay, this is what we're offering. So that's pretty exciting. So prior to his appointment as High Representative, Mr. Moratinos was the honorary chairman of the CIRSD Board of Advisors, Center of International Relations and Sustainable Development, Senior Advisor of Sustainable Development Solution Network of the Earth Institute at Columbia University, and member of the Leadership Council of the UN Sustainable Development. Did I just read that? Did I just read the sentence like 5 times? The Spanish Network for Sustainable Development, affiliated to SDSN, and the president of the Trobades Literaries Mediterraneans Association of the Trobades Albert Camus Award. In recognition for his distinguished achievement, Mr. Moratinos received honorary doctorates from the universities of St. Petersburg, Malta, as well as Ben Gurion, Al-Quds, and Tel Aviv universities. Wow. And he worked a lot in the League of Arab States in ceremony in recognition for his role in strengthening Arab and Spanish relations. Yeah, because history, right? The Spanish invaded the Arab world, and you can see the influence, or maybe vice versa as well. You can see the Arab influence in the south of Spain, in Morocco and stuff like that. But this is what makes the richness of the culture, having all of that. And he is married to Mrs. Dominique Moratinos and has 2 daughters and 1 son. And this is a quote from him: "The truth is, today more than ever, diversity is the reality that informs human life. Diversity means embracing pluralism in nations and cities, tribes and villages, in ethnicities and identities, in belief, faith, and traditions." And he was also talking in the Global Forum about the power of the words, the power of beautiful speeches, of how you put your words together to reach the heart of the people. You can be essentially saying the exact same thing, but if, depending on how it's put, the words, they have an energy. It doesn't land in the ear. If someone says something, it can be as amazing, but I don't know, I guess it's the people you connecting with, and this is why we need this diversity, because maybe some people, they're watching, they're like, oh, I can't stand her accent, the way she's talking, blah blah blah, and whatever I'm saying that could be super intelligent or whatever, it's not gonna land in their ears. And maybe someone who really I don't know, has followed my work and they appreciate and whatever, and they're gonna listen, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's awesome, you know. So this is why you have affiliations also. So I wanted to read a quote from António Guterres. Where is it? Well, you see in my encyclopedia, I put lots of strategic plan. I put my own strategic plan there for the United Nations, right? Organized worldwide exhibition of indigenous art, online interactive world map, a giant library online of indigenous and worldwide art, open more art galleries, co-ops with quarterly cultural calendars, so we can continue the culture. Art in the city, new great gallery of world art in New York City, creation of the Pachacuti Mag, or a new section in the Awake at Night magazine that is published each quarter to feature tribes around the world, or teach some vocabulary and songs in their language, feature their art or farming techniques, holistic healing, science, gastronomy, show what schools look like all around the world with a bridge to the US, where to find them, or call to action, exposing the needs for partnerships and community. Partnership with school, creation of the symbols of the world oracles, the project I still want to do. Collaborative project, shamanic and holistic medicine. Where is this quote? He had a beautiful quote. Oh yeah. We need to change the mindset of decision making. Don't focus solely on what may happen to you today. Look at what will happen to all of us tomorrow and act. We have an obligation to act in deep and systemic ways. After all, the world is not moving incrementally. Technology is not moving incrementally. Climate destruction is not moving incrementally. We cannot move incrementally. This is not a time for thinking. It's a time for transformation. It starts with the UN Charter and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The distillation of our shared mission to uphold and uplift our common humanity. Here, I'm going to do that so you feel like you're there. Okay. You feel like you're there when I'm reading. The distillation of our shared mission to uphold and uplift our common humanity. It was bold, ambitious, and audacious, and we need to take inspiration from its spirit and its substance. The Declaration reminds us that the inherent dignity and equally inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation for freedom, justice, and peace. When I look at human rights in the broadest sense with the 21st century lens, I see a roadmap out of the dead end. Excellencies, it starts with the right to peace. The Russian invasion of Ukraine is inflicting untold suffering to Ukrainian people with profound global implications. The prospect for peace keeps diminishing. The change is a further escalation and bloodshed keeps growing. I fear the world is not sleepwalking into a wider war. I fear it's doing so with its eyes wide open. But the world needs peace, and peace in line with the United Nations Charter and international law. We must work harder for peace everywhere. In Palestine and Israel, where the two-state solution is growing more distant by the day. In Afghanistan, where the rights of women and girls are being trampled and deadly terrorist effects continue. In Israel, where security is deteriorating at alarming rates. In Myanmar, which is facing new cycles of violence and repression. In Haiti, where gun violence is holding the entire country hostage, and elsewhere around the world for the 2 billion people who live in countries affected by conflicts and humanitarian crises. Excellencies, if every country fulfills its obligation under the Charter, the right to peace will be guaranteed. When countries break those pledges, they create a world of insecurity for everyone. So it's time to transform our approach to peace by recommitting to the Charter, putting human rights and dignity first, with prevention at the heart. And that requires the holistic view of the peace continuum that identifies root causes and prevents the seeds of war from sprouting. World that invests in prevention, focuses on mediation, advances on peace building, that includes a much broader participation of women and young people. These are core elements in our plan to revitalize a world in transition and the new leaders in the strategic competition. It must be a game-changing climate action. Yeah, man. I mean, Your Excellency. No, seriously, this is wow. And he said that in front of the assembly. He then positioned himself against, the nuclear weapons and stuff like that. I think this is a skill, being able, that my mentors taught me, and that Joe Biden is also. Now I'm going to talk about our president, Joe Biden, because he always says silence is complicity. Even embarrassing truths, you have to say it. We have to stand for peace. We have to position ourselves. So, of course, you have some people as a leader, as a president, you have to position yourself for peace. Of course, if he's in the NATO, he can't be making alliances with Russia, because they have to stand their position, because they decided they're supporting Ukraine. This is why you need mediators in the middle, where I self-proclaimed myself, because I just had nothing else to do, I guess, to go and try to establish those links back there. And because I've always wanted to go there to Russia, and I've also always somewhat had an affection for Vladimir Putin, because I felt like he had this charisma, he has this certainty. So I don't speak Russian, so I don't know if everything he says is legit. Now we have the Facebook translation. Imagine the progress in the negotiation. A year ago, we didn't have that yet. A year ago, you didn't have the translation on every post on Facebook, or 2 years ago. Now I see a post from Russia, I know what they're talking about. I can go and comment, and these people, they can come and they see my page, So like he says, the technology is not moving incrementally, okay? It's exponential. It's super, super fast now. So let's talk about Joy. I'm sorry, I know I have a high respect. If I'm making a whole video about these people, is because I highly respect them, and I wouldn't be trying to work with them if I didn't. But I also like to see the human side of it, and feel like we we all matter also, and they really bringing back this human side of it. You know, one of the best thing he was saying, he told a story about two people, and he was like, you know, these two guys, it was a breakfast, a speech that he was giving. He was like, you know, these two guys, they argue like hell in front of everybody, but they're like the best friends in the world. It's crazy, but what they're teaching that you can disagree and still work together, you know. And that's, I think, something that we can learn from to resolve the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, that you can disagree, but you can still work together for a broader goal. So let's do a quick biography of Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin, or two presidents that I am trying to reconcile together. So Joseph Biden Jr. is an American. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is an American politician who is the 46th and current president of the United States, a member of the Democratic Party. He previously served as the 47th vice president under President Obama's presidency, and he represented Delaware in the United States from 1973 to 2009. Okay, so he's been a politician all of his life, born in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm not gonna read his entire story, but he became at 78 the oldest president in US history, the first to have a female vice president, and the first born from Delaware. And he signed a bipartisan infrastructure bill. Okay, I'm not gonna read that, I'm just gonna tell you what I know. Okay, so that, for me, I wasn't following politics. I know I already was a big fan of Barack Obama, which was the first president that I actually liked. Before that, I was too young and not interested in politics. But I liked Obama's humor and charisma. And then when I learned that Joe Biden was already the vice president under Obama, I wasn't surprised, because he also has a lot of kindness, a lot of humanity, and humor also in his ways. I think he's amazing that after such a long career, and I believe that when Trump was president, he took it as a duty. Like I said before, when you've worked all your life and you truly believe that you are doing something good for the people and you have project, and he probably wanted to continue what they started with Obama. I'm trying to make sure you see this beautiful pendant. By the way, I sell this jewelry. I have a bunch of amazing, super highly energetic jewelry on my website that you can buy. Pachamama.org. They're from Peru. They're unique. I went to a store the other day and I see something like that, silver, that size, ugly, really, no taste, no shape. This stuff was $600, the same size of that. And I'm like, $600, and I'm selling you these for, I have some for 300, I have some for 500. And yeah, on my website. Okay, so you can take a trip to Peru. Of course, you'll find them for maybe $200, but or maybe the little ones, you can find them there for $70. But let me tell you, the trip is not going to cost you $70. So you're also profiting a small business, right? We're talking about small businesses, so that's Joe Biden's motto, right? To bring the economy from the small businesses, because we're the foundation of the country. He is providing free internet for everybody nowadays. He is the first one who stepped against the weapon industry. They're doing the name, what is it? What was this law against the massive assault weapons, right? This is the first one who does that. The abortion, they're fighting to restore the Roe versus whatever. I don't know how bad and law names. What is it? I see it all the time. What's the name for the abortion law? Yes, so he's really he's removed the fees from the airport. All these little things that companies have started doing. Like, when I broke my computer, I spilled some water on my computer. I spilled some tea on my computer, most expensive tea in the history of the world. I went to a recovery data service and they wanted to charge me $4,000. No, at first they say, oh, it's going to be $2,000. That was already a lot, right? $2,700. Then by the time they added disk fee, charge fee, whatever fee, blah, this stuff was like 35, almost $4,000, I was like, this is so unfair. And companies, they take profit of people who need to take the trip, who need the service, because they know they don't have a lot of competition, they have the monopoly, and they take advantage of customers, right? That you have to buy it, or you have to buy your insulin for $400 or you die, right? So he's the one, he's kind of like me. He's like, I'm gonna go sneak into everybody's business there and I'm gonna bring back some law, some order, because you can't, essentially, I think that every business should be a non-profit. We should give more flexibility to non-profit organizations to be able for them to pay themselves better, to pay their employees better, to make sure that people thrive, because everybody's allowed to thrive. But essentially, every organization should be a non-profit with more flexibility, but just to ensure that you don't have a huge gap between millionaires who are making so much profit and small businesses that are just struggling and not making anything. So in that case, partner with a non-profit who is able to work with you and invest, created also, money pathways between organizations to make sure the money is flowing and it's not just going on one side and the other one never benefit anything. So this is all, this is not all, but this is the main things. And all these things take a lot of time. I was talking about the abortion, how it's already difficult for some people to understand the principles of abortions, so imagine the guns. Country of America, where more children are killed by weapons than car accidents and and sicknesses and stuff like that. They were saying that yesterday. More kids in America are killed by gun violence than car accidents and health and stuff like that. This is crazy. Maybe not health. No, I think that would be a lot. But that's just insane. I've never seen that in any other country. But he's the first one who actually stepped up, and he was like, if you think I'm gonna let you do that, then I'm your worst nightmare. He's a good actor as well. In politics, he's also acting. And I really believe that the military, just because of what I told you before, that US and Russia, they have been partnering and training together, the navies in the Atlantic Ocean with submarines and stuff like that. For a fact that there are war games going on, and that the military, maybe this is what they've learned, so it's difficult for them to change their ways. They've been trained to use those weapons. They want to go use those weapons. Where are we gonna go use those bad boys, right? Let's find a land that's not too busy, and let's go play paintball. That's what it feels like when I saw these landfills where they were, and there were actually nobody. There were no habitats, no habitations, and they were just throwing bombs there. So I know there is a conflict, but at the same time, if it's playing battlefield, I don't know, it's difficult to really know the truth, because it's never exactly what it looks like. It's always more complex. There's always, like I said before, if you go and you say, hey, I'm gonna stop Russia, we're all going to go invade Russia and get them, so they stop this invasion. It's real quick to throw a bomb and stuff like that. So there is always this complex situations where you can't really, they're there to contain. They say we're there in Ukraine to avoid that it expands to other countries. We want to contain it. But like I said, President Putin, now I'm interested in his story because he has been, there is something there too. He has been the president for a very long time, so I'm wondering about how do they organize their elections. Okay, so he's a Russian politician, former intelligence officer, serving as current president of Russia. He has served continuously as president of prime minister since 99. So he was prime minister from 99 to 2000, from 2008 to 2012. He was president from 2000 to 2008, so for 8 years, right? He was president for 8 years. Then this other, who was him? So I'm really bad with names. If I don't have, I think it's what, Medvedev, right? Medvedev was the following one, president. And then Putin became president again in 2012. So it's been 12 years. So 6 and 6, because then it's 6 years mandate. So 2 times 6 years. So normally they have elections coming up next year. So I'm asking President Putin now that this is his last year. Are they allowed to be re-elected after 2 mandate? I don't know. I think they just changed that. I think they just changed that to make it that you can be re-elected as many times as possible. I'm not sure, but if this is your last year as a president, I think this is the best opportunity right now. They have brought all the weapons of all the entire world in Ukraine, in the central location of the world. Why not it be the time right now where we say, we have all these weapons there, let's destroy these weapons. Okay, let's make them vanish from the surface of the earth. We don't want war anymore. We are the era who is bringing peace. Let's not get out of here unless all these weapons are gone. And not the men. You choose now, your men or your weapons. What do you want to protect? You can't protect, say you're protecting your family and promote the unity, the unity of the country, but if you're sending them for war. So, and once again, I think that our own network here in America, we're setting the tone in what's going to happen in Russia. We're able to go past our families, dramas and stories and judgments and become a network like it was 2 years ago, when it was an amazing network online and we all discovered each other and it was great. And before there was people letting down and expectations and betrayals and stuff, like in every family, right? But I think that's a shame that all this is gone now and there is no room for negotiation, and we're here claiming for peace when we're not able even to show the example in our own relationships. So that's a little hypocrite. So, we all have a role to play, and I believe when we start opening a door on one side, all the doors open on the other side as well. It's the balance. So what's interesting is that Putin, he worked as a KGB foreign intelligence officer for 16 years. So for him, he has always been into these stories of betrayals. He was in the KGB, so he was in the secret services, and he was always in these energies of crime, betrayals. Okay, so he knows all the secrets also of the Eastern world. So of course he's carrying that luggage, okay, for all of his career. So for him, his time to come to the president is like, now is the time that we get justice done. Except that you can't, like António Guterres say, okay, history and climate action, the world is not moving incrementally, okay? Or the tablets of emerald say you can't have the same speech each generation, because one generation has a speech for a certain type of people, and the other generation, they have another target audience, okay? But history has changed, the relationship has changed. If you still have the same revenge speech as you had during the World War, or bringing all these suitcases from the KGB and all these conspiracy theories and all of that I was a lot into as well many years ago, but this is not going to reach for peace. We really need to focus on the goal now. Okay, who we want to be remembered as. Who do you want to be known? What do you want to be known for? Okay, the man that said, because right now he's one of the most powerful men on the planet who has this giant thing to prove. He's got something to prove, right? So maybe if he has the strength to put the ego and the karmic memory, the collective karmic memory of his country aside, to say what do we need to bring them now for the future, okay? So as if the mastermind now say, okay, let's start over, we're going to publish your book, and we're going to be the greatest partners of the United Nations, we're going to expose your message to everybody. This is their step to take, to say, now we're not just talking, we're doing action, okay? And we're going to become global partners, and we're all going to expand exponentially, which leads me to talk to you about my mentors, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. So I don't need a summary about them, I know everything about them. So Tony Robbins, which I believe should become the next president of the United States, not because I don't like Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden. I think he's an amazing president. Him and his wife, she's an amazing representative. She's so kind and educated and smart. They're doing an amazing job. And I think that what they've started, they need to have, I think they need a holiday. Joe Biden, he's done a lot in his career. He deserves a little time off. They are torturing him right now. They're taking him left and right, doing those speeches everywhere about the economy. I mean, Ben, what are you doing? This is your job. Vice President, you guys need to, we want to see you. You can carry the message. You speak as in your communication, you can take the little weight from him, and we'd love to have access to you as well to continue the message and give our president some room for I don't know, have breakfast in the morning, smell the roses at the White House garden, I mean, essentially the president, he's signing, he's the spokesperson of the Americans, but he has an entire team behind him, okay, that helps with speeches, that helps with the partnerships, the governments, all these people, of course, that represent him as well. So I believe that we should continue. Joe Biden needs to have a team coming behind him that says, I really wish we are not going to see an election that is like we had with Trump. This was the worst. Like, this guy, who is the worst? No, who is the least worst? Like, it was really like that. Critics. People were talking to me about the elections. They were aggressive. I was like, I don't want to hear about these elections. I don't care. Now that finally that was destiny, because I was not at all interested in politics. So finally, they finally reached out. It's that it was meant to be. And then I discovered everything they were doing. I was like, oh wow, they're amazing people. So they deserve to have teams behind them that come and say, hey, we're going to honor your legacy. We're going to keep your message. I'm going to picture you, in the book as someone who really made a difference, and because this is what they deserve. So they gave so much of their lives and their time and their energy in doing that. You don't have trolls that ruin your image all the time. You want to have your image that stays at everything that you created. And the best is what he's doing with President Obama right now, is when someone continues your legacy, okay? And it's not just what you accomplished in the now, but what you started, and that is going to manifest and amplify over the generations. So I think Tony Robbins, because of his strengths, his network, he's got the network, he's been in business for all of his life since he started with his mentor Jim Rohn. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He was doing his seminar, and he was repeating the exact seminar with his pen falling, at the exact same time. And Tony Robbins would watch it, and every single time he would understand something new and have new insights. And then he started, working with him and doing his own workshops. And he was like, man, I need to help people, so maybe, I don't know, I'm going to go to Denny's at 3 in the morning and find someone to help me. People who are at Denny's at 11 o'clock at night or 3 in the morning, these people need help. So he would start going and approach guys and try to help them. Then his first conference, he went there and there was only 5 people. When he booked a room of 700 people, only 5 of them showed up. But he gave them all he got, all of his energy. He delivered all the knowledge, so I'm telling you, I know all of their life. I can give you the conferences, like I lived it. Then when he discovered, his friend, he discovered a game called cricket, and so he had this friend that was so excited to tell him about cricket. So he was like, hey, I need to show you something. He was like, what is it? No, but how are we going? I was like, yeah, okay, right. No, but I got to show you something. What is it? Like, I got a sport. What is it? It's called cricket. So then he goes and he tried cricket, and he got this donkey or this horse that was just like a broken horse, He was just crazy, but he knew how to play cricket. So anyways, he's really a good storyteller. And when you in Egypt and at all eras. Oh wait, I finished the story about Eddie the horse, or what was his name, Edwin, or I don't know. And then he's on his horse and he see a bunch of guys that come with those big horses, and they're coming towards him. And it's like, what do I do? What's going on? And finally, the horse sees the other ones coming, and he runs to ball, and he shoots, and he wins. He's just got this way of telling you the stories. That same thing every single time you watch it, you hear something different, a different story that reminds you of something you're living at this moment, or a different level of understanding. The first time maybe you take it at the literal level, the next time at a figurative level, next time it's going to trigger a moral, a value, something. This is why repetition is key, because you hear something once, but then you forget, and then you hear. So I think he's an amazing psychologist. In Egypt, they were telling stories, or in France at the Century of the Lights, they were criticizing politics or doing politician matters to avoid censorship. They were doing it through stories. Actually, I have here the spirit animals oracles, and I wanted to pull a card for every person I talked about to have their spirit animal. Okay, so I'm gonna catch up. It's gonna be another long session, but it's okay because this is gonna stay. Hopefully people will watch it. And because people don't like critics. They don't like when you're criticizing, blah, blah, blah. So through a story, a moral, it makes you think yourself. Okay? So he's really good at that. They're really good at meeting you where you are and taking you where you need to be. So if they know that people are going through a depression. They know the effect of COVID, the effect of social media, of the disconnection between people, or how you feel let down when you create a business and it doesn't work right away, and how much it takes. I told you all their resumes, right? You see how many steps it took in their career to get where they wanted to be. So imagine for a woman who had a child and has a 10 years gap in her resumes with just a couple of experiences when she was young, and yet she put all of her heart during 10 years building an empire out of little painting of dots, like they can make anything out of anything if you really follow their courses. You believe. They were my reminder service. Dean, he was my reminder service every day to not give up, to keep going, to the point that I was just like, man, if I give up right now, I'm just going to regret it for the rest of my life. Man, it doesn't matter, where it takes me. I just need to complete. And they pushed me, and they were always 25 steps of the games. Even yesterday, I was reading the strategic plan of action of the UNAOC, and I read some phrases that Dean was already saying in his conference from this weekend that he probably recorded already 2-3 weeks ago, which means that the guy had already read it, planning, knowing, oh, this is gonna land on her hand in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, blah blah. So by the time she watches this, she's gonna be reading it, it's gonna ring the bell, you know. And the guys, they're always 20 steps ahead of the game, and so that's why, you know, I don't like all their techniques and they're too tough, but at the same time they're really, when they say they're really trying to take you where you need to be, if you follow the step, it really works. They're really, and they never give up and they keep going. So I believe that Tony Robbins will be an amazing president because he has the network, he has the psychology. Right now, America, they need babysitters. Okay, we don't need. We need economic experts. We need engineers. We need all of that, business, marketing. Most of it, we need psychologists, experts, because people are depressed, and if they're not depressed, it's depressing. Like, sorry, but like when I have some friends that are just, they lost everything. They're a single mom, they lost everything, they lost their business, they lost their apartment, you know, they have nothing. It took 2 years for them to get their taxes. I don't know if they have it or not, whatever, but they're happy. They're like, it's okay, I'm just gonna start over, I'm gonna manifest my reality, you know. And that bothers me. This acceptance bothers me. I'm happy for them. Sometimes I wish I would be like that. I'm like jealous at one point. I'm like, man, I wish I would be so relaxed. Like, why are you so relaxed? You don't have a place, you know, you don't have support, your parents, they're not helping you. Like, can you panic? Like, can you do something, you know? It's like, no, I trust, you know, I'm manifesting everything I need exactly at this moment. You know, and she really means it, you know, and she makes it. She's a warrior. She's building her little homes and stuff. But for me, it bothers me. I'm like, it's not okay that you have a child, you don't have a home, that you didn't get your taxes for 2 years. It's not okay that you're not collecting child support. It's not okay that your parents are not helping you. It's not. Like, you should have a lot more than what you have now. You deserve the comfort, you deserve the security. I want reassurance, I want security. I want people to tell me, yes, you're going to work with us. Maybe not this week, maybe this date. I want a date, I want a contract. I want to know that next month I'm going to be okay. You know, I'm not okay with uncertainty, and this is cultural, this is personal. Everybody's different. Maybe some stuff that doesn't bother me at all bother other people. Maybe the way I have my relationships, and I'm so you know, gifting, and I'm writing everybody, oh, I love you so much. Like, you know, when I see people inspiring, they have a big heart and everything, and I'm like really sentimental, and it's my way. Why? Because I'm a giant right now. I'm a giant needy hole of energy. I need so much reassurance in my life, because every time I'm expecting something, or the people that just, you know, disappoint or just keep me hanging, you know, these things just traumatize me. I'm like, someone comes in my life right now, they need to be available, they need to care, they need to share, they need to provide, they need, not saying I'm not going to stop doing anything, but I need reassurance, pretty much. I need someone who says, hey, I got you, babe, let's do this together. Pretty much, that's it. I got you, babe, let's do this together, we're going to save the world, you know. And you know, my friend, she was telling me, hey, you can't expect someone who just comes into your life, you know, that you're putting a burden on them and stuff. It's like, I know I can't. I know it's not fair. It's just, I can't do any other way. If someone comes and they're not ready and they're not reassuring me, it's just like, I can't. I need too much of it that it's not for me, you know. I'm like, sorry. So anyways, so what was I saying? That the people, most people that are either they're depressed, they don't have ambitions, because you have the people that stop believing in the system and they just want to live and pay their bills, and they don't care, they watch TV and they just that's fine for them. Then you have the people who don't have much, but they're happy with that, they're content. And so that bothers me, because we should all be really abundant. I feel like there is enough money in the world. As long as there's money to build weapons, there's money to send to the people, and food and stuff. Then you have the people who are in this journey, but it's not going fast like me, it's not going fast enough. I don't have reassurance. But then when I look up to people like them and I see everything they have to do together, I'm like, okay, patience. You have to prove your worth. You have to prove your commitment. And so looking up to who you want to become also helps to lead you in the journey. Okay, if you drink local, or you drink whatever your dreams are, that's fine. This is you. You need people who teach you to be in the now. You need people who teach you to just sit there in nature and enjoy and connect with the trees. So you're just talking about it. I'm already relaxed. I just want to sit outside. I'm going to do that today. Sit outside in the garden. Forget about the world. Just connect with the trees, and then you feel connected to everything. You need people like that too. And then, after you've worked hard for a while and you've had this giant vision, and I'm not okay for it not happening. So you have all levels, and these people, Tony Robbins, Zing Graciosi, all the podcasts, the mentors, what they're doing right now, this is really helping people at the psychological level to feel comfort and support where they are, because you always have that friend that comes and they tell you, no, you're crazy, you got to lower your expectations. It's all of my people, everybody I talk to, you have to lower your expectations. And they tell me, no, you have to bring your expectations higher. So of course you don't meet someone and be like, hey, let's get married and have kids. It scares them away. You have to go progressive. Hey, it's been all day. Do you see how it's going? And it's the same for a partnership. I go to the United Nations. I'm like, hey guys, hi, I'm coming. I'm working with you tomorrow. Like, for me, I'm excited, but for them, they're like, oh, who's that girl? Okay, maybe you can record 5,000 videos before we get to know you, and then we're gonna hire you, and I don't know, but a relationship has two persons. You need to take into consideration what both person wants, and if you're lucky to have two persons that are ready for the same thing at the same time, then you're really lucky. And if you find the person that is really worth it, but they're not ready, then it's your job to go ahead and convince them and make them the worth. This depends. Okay, like I said, because I've been with so many, always trying to prove my worth and everything. Not saying I'm not going to make efforts, but I don't have the patience. It's got to be. All right, so this one is going to be for our first guide, António Guterres. I just pulled the hawk spirit. Let spirit be your guide. Beautiful. We have a lot of hawks like this. See, funny how the emblem is the eagle, the emblem is America, so it's the same family as the eagle. This is very representative of the United Nations. Okay, this is the same family. The White House is represented by the eagle, and then the cousin of the White House is the United Nations, where the laws are being watched and discussed and implemented. Okay, humanitarian laws and everything. This one is more, the eagle is more rare. Okay, because you see them in the extreme environments and higher altitude and stuff like that. The hawk, you see it everywhere. Okay, it's the same. These people at the United Nations, they go to the people, they go into the communities, they're more accessible, not necessarily as for like a job and accessing the building, I'm saying, you know, still need appointments, but in terms of operations, right? So same family, the hawk. Let's pull a card for Mr. Moratinos. Which one? Okay, I'm gonna pull these two. So in order, it's got 1, 4. Oh wow, crazy. See, I was talking about the eagle. The spirit has your back, and the brown bear spirit. Take time out. Crazy. Okay, so we're gonna do Mr. Moratinos, the brown bear spirit. Just because of what I was saying, you will understand. The brown bear spirit. You see, so it's the same. These people, the brown bear is like the reassurance, they're the protection, the force. Okay, this is also shamanic. It's got the feather, the shamanic spirit. Take time out. Maybe it's gonna be time, you know, to retire, or I'm not, you know, I want to accompany you. I want to learn as much as I can from you. So when you retire, you know that your work is in good hands. Maybe it will be a year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know, 5 years, whatever your career decisions are. But at some point, you know, we need to give opportunities also to new people to come and have access to these positions as well. You don't necessarily have to wait for 60, 70 years until you get a position where you can make an effect. You know, I was a better teacher when I was 22 years old. I left to Peru. When I arrived in Peru, 2010, so I was 24 years old. I was a teacher at the French school. I was amazing. I was a great teacher in Bahrain at the Alliance Française. I was a great teacher. Everybody, all my students, all my friends. I'm not, vanity or whatever, but I was a great teacher because I was putting all of my energy. I didn't have kids. I had all the time. I wanted to be recognized. I wanted to be up to the challenge, to not disappoint my boss. So I was really great. I was 27. Now that I have kids, I don't want to read. I don't want to work with kids. I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't want to be a teacher every day with little kids, right? Because I already have to deal with it every day. I don't think I would be as patient as a teacher with young kids right now as I was when I didn't have children, because you don't care. It's not your kids. So you're there to do your job. You're really great with the kids. If they do something wrong, you're able to not take personally. You're able to manage the crisis when it's your kid 24/7 and he's disrespecting you or whatever. You take it personally, gets emotional, gets all of that. And then, so what I'm saying is that the age doesn't do, you know, experience does, but the age doesn't mean that you're not going to be qualified to do a job. If you're learning straight from the best, I'm going straight to learn from the best, and all their network, their experiences, their project, and they want me to take on to continue that, then I would be honored. This is really great, actually. See, we're matching. Matchy, the team, I'm telling you. See, matchy. Okay, now a card for Joe Biden, the president, that, of course, what was I talking about? The eagle spirit. Spirit has your back. Spirit has your back, card 23. See, crazy, I was saying, I went to Peru when I was 23, 24, and the eagle spirit and the condor. See, the Peru represents the condor, so I'm associated to the condor. And at that time, this is when I met my husband, when I was 24 in Peru. That a year and a half after, it's when I moved to, like, I started coming on trips and stuff to America. I eventually getting married and moving, but it was the calling already of the Pachamama, the destiny of bringing the condor to the eagle, bringing Pachamama to America, bringing the shamanic knowledge, ancestral holistic healing and all of that, and from the sacred ancient sites from all around the world, the monuments of the sacred energies, and bringing it to America, where it was more engineering and technology and economy, and now they're a lot more into that. Like you wouldn't imagine when I talk about thought and the tablets of emerald, they love it. They're into that a lot because they find out now that the religions, if there is not one religion that is right and all the other ones are wrong, if all the religions can find common ground now and common points, then there is room now for more prophecies and more knowledge and more acceptance toward all this esoteric stuff that they knew very well about. Did you know that the churches in South America or in other sites around the world were built, especially in some certain sites where they were already had ancient sites and stuff like that, because they knew those points were energetic, so they were building over it, that the energy collected at this point. This is true geolocalization and how do you call it, geo energy. I don't know, there is a word for this geo energy, that specific points on the earth have a certain energy, and it's true. So it was the calling to bring all that, so we can open up our mind and understand that the prophecies, well, now we're not only understanding prophecies that are happening, now we're time traveling and wondering who wrote it first. Was it us and they were time traveling to see us and write back the knowledge from ancient times? We are the ancient astronauts, right? We know that now for a fact, that here in a few years, we, NASA, and US military and stuff like that, we're going to be able to use that technology from the vacuum force to create intergalactic and space-time travel portals and go back to Egypt and find out what was going on. And this is how time loops in itself, like that loop thing, like the Echelle balls or whatever. Man, can't remember any names right now. See, Todd said that you must remember the names. Should have prepared, but you see, I can't prepare when there is so much coming in. So now, Vladimir Putin. Let me find a card for him. Ooh, I like that. Panther Spirit. Reclaim your power. That is what he's doing. Card 44. The Dark Spirit, the Dark Force. Reclaim your spirit. This is what he's doing. He is carrying, like I said, all this luggage from so long ago for his history, since after wars and stuff like that. That now he's bringing this justice for his people, right? But the Panther is also the charisma. And like I said, now it's time maybe to bring it back to the light. 44 is the number of foundation, to bring new foundation. Reclaim your power, reclaim, renew, refresh, rethink, reconsider how you can envision the power again nowadays without using the force and destruction, but being the spirit animal, the charisma that started a new era, a new foundation, all right, of the new energy world, the new technology, and the new peaceful world. Beautiful. Isn't this an amazing oracle? An amazing reading right now for all these characters of history? Wow. Also, interesting because, so of course, this is Native American symbols, the eagle, but when you look at the condor and the puma, here we have some northern versions of the condor and the puma. Here, let's make them look at each other. The condor and the puma, they're two of the spirits animal from Peru. The condor, or the eagle, because he sees everything from above. He's the spirit of the skies, of the divine, right? The panther, he is the man of the land, right? He sees what's on the ground. He's it's got the agility and the force as well. And it's got this third eye as well. You know that Vladimir Putin is a lot into prophecies and you know, Dostoevsky prophetic text and stuff. So I think this is he is linked to the collective karmic energies. I'm really trying to stay neutral, you know, because I know there's war crimes, and I know that I should be talking about the victims right now, but I'm really trying to go imagine that we're all in a room and that we're saying, okay, now we have to solve this conflict. Okay, we're no longer playing soldiers with our military. There's enough places in the world that have environmental and humanitarian needs and problems that we need to bring them food and assistance and electricity and all that we need to go somewhere else and destroy and use our resources for that. This is a waste. Okay, now let's go to Tony Robbins. Oh my god, this is so funny. The ant spirit. So this is super funny because and the puzzle, time to collaborate. Okay, so what I was talking about, this is a perfect animal spirit for marketing. Because what is marketing? Marketing is the masses. How do you communicate with the masses to impact people at the most microscopic level, that is the mindset, what is within them, hidden inside of them that you can't even see, is the spirit, the invisible forces, right? The ant is one of the smallest animal, but yet things that we neglected for so long is the mindset. And this is the whole motto, right? Motivation words is about the mindset and hard work, and the ant is the symbol of hard work and collaboration and bringing and saving up, right? To build and save for the winter. Or do they do that? Winter is coming, you know. So number one, my number one's the mastermind forever, you know, no matter what. So they have a beautiful mandala, the green, the color of the heart, and the pieces of the puzzle. I'm not going to read the booklet, okay? If you want, you can buy the booklet, because otherwise the video would take too long. I'm doing my own interpretation. Maybe the book says something different. I don't know. But that's also the power of symbols. You see, you don't need, that's what I'm trying to tell to my son, because every time he has a question, he's like, hey, every time he has a question, he doesn't even ask me. He's like, hey, can I have your phone? I want to ask Google. And I'm like, why? He's like, oh, what is the question? And sometimes some crazy stuff. I'm like, well, just ask me. He's like, no, but you don't know. I'm gonna ask Google. I was like, I know the answer. And he's like, no, only Google knows. No, Google knows everything. I was like, man, if you think that Google will be more right than your mom, then we're lost. Like if we're letting AI direct everything in our lives now, you know, then we're lost. And I tell him, you don't need Google. You use your brain to find your own answer, right? So this is what I'm teaching also with the cards, is that we don't need a booklet for everything, okay? You need to, if you have my book, you have my whole book that's learning you to teach the symbols. But once you have that book, for the rest of your life, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to interpret anything that you see as symbols, synchronicities. Of course, don't get too overthinking, right? But for a reading like that, it's cool. And maybe you're interpreting this in a completely different ways. And there is too, you see? Masterminds, Dean and Tony, like the combo, the duo, the gangster duo. I'm still gonna pull a card for Dean. Okay? So the workers. Also, a cool anecdote that I saw about the ants. It was from Joseph Campbell. What book? I don't remember the name of the book. It's not The Power of Myth. I don't remember which one. It's not The Hero of Thousand Faces. These are two really great ones. But it was another one that I didn't have heard about before. But he was talking about the ants and how it's a story, right? A mythology from a country or whatever. So there is a boy that is looking at ants on the floor, and one of the guys starts laughing. I'm really bad at telling this story because I don't remember it really well. But anyways, the other guy is asking him, "Why are you laughing?" And this guy, "Because all these ants, they're masters." Like, he's like, "Why?" Yeah, because in this I don't know, in the story, the reincarnation process, pretty much like all the people who were thinking, "Oh, now I made it in life," as soon as they would start, "Now I'm a master, I made it in life," like that they would start experiencing pride. In their next life, they would be reincarnating in ants, like the smallest thing possible. So I don't know, I think the moral of the lesson is that to always be humble. Maybe life throws you challenges, so you can always remember. I think in my life I was really successful really fast, really young. I was never not humble. I was proud of myself, but I was always kind. But I was always humble. But I think when my mom, for example, would tell me, "Oh, it's difficult, to get out of a difficult relationship," or whatever, I wouldn't have the empathy. I would just be like, just stop it, just get rid of it, just or if someone would have a depression, that I would never had depression before. So for me, I was like, just do something, just go do something and be busy, and it will go away. Because I didn't, my friend, she was coming to me. I remember she was always like, I have anxiety. I was like, there's no such thing as anxiety. I don't know what that is. I was like, just just smoke some weed, or just let's go do something or whatever. And then she would call me a few hours later. She's like, "Oh, I have anxiety. Can I come over and stuff?" And I didn't really understand. Now I know what it is when you're frozen on your bed and you can't breathe, and you're impossible to move because you're having anxiety attack, and you think the whole world is against you and people are there to get you, or whatever comes to your mind, or dreams and stuff. I had never had this before, and what uncertainty does to me, and massive anxiety attacks. Now I've had it, like, I'm sure as soon as I get a job and I don't have this financial thing that I've been, it's not even, I was never worried about financial. It's just when it's lasting for so long, it accumulates, and then it just becomes such a big thing. And I'm sure it will go away, but I will never forget. I will never forget when someone is in a bad relationship, or is struggling to find a job, or has anxiety. It's just anxiety because they're a parent and they don't know how to deal with the tantrums, whatever. I will never forget. Once, and I think this is what this experience is in my life is teaching me, right? Is to stay humble, because the door may or may not open. There's other people who are also deserving, so I don't know if everybody works hard. Sometimes people are just more bold and don't mind stepping on others. That is something that is very difficult for me. But at the same time, so this one is, did I do everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, so this one for Dean. The lizard spirit dreamed the world into being. Yeah. Who are you by the time you get there? It's not about the destination, it's about who you become on your way there. Are you still a nice person? Are you a horrible person? Are you kind? Are you still helping people? What Tony Robbins says, like, if you don't give $1 out of 10, you will never give 1,000,000 out of 10 million. So who do you become? And sometimes I saw something also the other day that say, maybe karma is not hitting you because you were mean. Maybe karma is hitting you because you were too kind and you had to learn to put boundaries, learn to say stop, learn to say no, learn to see your worth and say I deserve better. Or it's not always, you're not always hit by karma because you did something wrong. Maybe you're learning a skill that is going to help you for later. Not taking no for an answer. The other day, a friend of me, she's telling me, you're so annoying, like you're not taking no for an answer. And she told me that like in a mean way, and I was like, yeah. That's right, I don't take no for an answer. And man, I'm telling you, if I did, then I would maybe just TB, I don't know, whatever, I guess. So the dream the world into being. So beautiful card, very traditional, tribal spirit, a little chameleon as well. Dean is like that. So Dean Graziosi, now let's make a. So Tony Robbins, 2024, hoping that he will become our next president. I believe that he can help the people building their business, stimulate the economy, put powerful people, who are the right places to really help and know how to talk to others, have this psychology and empathetic aspect. Tony Robbins, one of his biggest strengths is that he would never get mad. Like if people are mean or whatever, he's right away able to convert. Dean and Tony, I was calling them trees. I was like, they're like trees. They turn the CO2 into oxygen. They turn our traumas into new visions, new building, new capabilities. That's what Dean is, a professional at that. He's beginning of the year, he did a live, and I remember at the beginning he was like, well, there's some things that are working and we gotta go to it. And right away he's starting to tell you a story, and that puts you like in this like lower vibration. He's going to dig inside of your soul, what's hidden in there. Where are you at? Where is it you're struggling at? Where is it that you're feeling like an imposter? Where is it that you're feeling not good enough? He's like, and by formulating it for you, you're like, oh yeah, exactly. You're feeling maybe that someone else is more qualified than you to do that, and maybe you don't have enough experience or whatever. Yeah, well, what you're worth it because you've done that, and look, I'm here. I've been able to create that network. Yeah, if anybody else did it, everybody else was so committed that they did it for 10 years without a paycheck, did everybody else kept loving on all the network and be objective enough to keep seeing people's worth despite of them not giving you buying your own thing or doing the same thing in return for you. They did it in a different way, right? But the return for me were in the long term, not in an instant. And I believe all this is going to pay off in the long term for all of us, all the network. Who cares enough? Maybe I haven't been a high representative. Maybe I haven't been for 10 years, but man, I've been a military mom, CEO of the Seashell Castle for 10 years, and master stalkers of the masterminds. I found them all. I'm a private investigator. You ask me to find one address, I will find him. I know where to find Billy Carson. I know where to find the masterminds. I found the address. I always know what's going on. I went to be interested by trying to work with the FBI. I discover what they're doing, what is their mission. By applying at these corporations, I know what is their culture. I brought capabilities there just by submitting my application. I send them my files, they can reuse that. So I'm talking about me, but this is what he does. What he did for me, how all of your insecurities, your imposter syndromes, all of that, he's helping you see what you have that other people don't have. This is what makes the difference. Thousands of people, how are they going to choose one? What is it that makes you special? Where your weakness is, you don't have enough experience in this area. What is it that you have that nobody else has? Right? The conviction, the network, the passion, the specialty, the expertise. Where is it you became an expert? They make you become an expert from the beginning. Okay, so the value ladder, where is it that you can start your business from it just being a passion and sharing something casually with your friends to it becoming expertise and selling high ticket offers, even if your high ticket offer is an amazing job at the United Nations. Okay, of course they're doing it for entrepreneurship, because this is helping build the economy of people that are more responsible and sufficient, and that educate themselves on their own, and maybe also an audience of people who don't have very supportive families, you know. Like I had some friends literally insulting me because they say that everything I do was stupid. If I learned to all these people who told me that everything I do is retarded, stupid, I would never have created the first encyclopedia of symbol in the history of the world, and nobody else has done this before, so complete, and bringing all the leader organizations of the world right now together in this book, so little kids in Afghanistan or in whatever, in Africa, you know, they can see, they have the book, they can see, oh, these are the people there in America, they're doing this. Wow, how will I ever get there? You have an internet connection, that's it, you're it. Nowadays, internet is changing the whole world, okay? And by making the military a humanitarian force and starting to bring more equality in all areas of the world, then these little kids there, they're gonna have as many chances as we have here in America, mostly in an organization like the United Nations, where they have representatives from all around the world. So yeah, Dean, he's the chameleon, you know. Don't underestimate this man or underestimate him, but he will always surprise you, you know. He will tell you the same story and you will interpret it like so many times differently, you know, because he's an energy master. Okay, so it's not, like I said, words are shells. You can put anything you want in a word. It's the way, it's the staging, it's the way, it's the intonation, it's the act. He's an actor. Every single time this man speaks live on a video, he's replaying a scene of a movie, or he's responding to a comment of someone that he saw, or he's singing you a song, or whatever. You just learn to hear it. You know, every single one of my friends that I send them the link and they watched it, they were like, oh, well, it's just a guy talking about marketing and you know, and Facebook ads and whatever, you know. And I'm like, no. I was like, I don't even, yeah, that's the literal level. That's how to build your business. But then there is the whole creativity, inspirational, and subliminal, energetic. Like I said, when he comes and he takes you to your imposter syndrome, and all of a sudden he takes you where you are incrementally. He goes up, and then at the end of the video, you're like, oh my God, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I'm the man, I'm their woman. You know, that's me. This stuff is for me. Like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go get it. This is the power they have. They uplift your energy. They take your traumas and they convert it in oxygen. Okay, they're your oxygen. That's why people get addicted to training. So they always say, don't get addicted to learning. You also need to get addicted to taking action, to say, man, at the end of my life, if I didn't take action at that point, like this morning, I was like, oh, I need to call the United Nations. Where is my application? Why are they not answering? And I was like, well, I'm going to wait till they answer. And then I remember Dean would be like, if you're waiting for someone to decide for you, you're screwed. You know, I'm like, okay, I got to call them. I got to make a video, whatever. I got to do something. If I'm just waiting till something happens, I'm screwed, you know. And so repeating, then is the voice in my head that is constantly, you know, 10 people can be telling me, no, you're stupid. Yeah, of course you need a plan B. But my mistake is that I did not have a plan B. I believed them so much. I believed in my stuff so much. I believed I'm going there, I'm going to get there so much. I didn't even think of a plan B. I was like, no, there's no plan B. I'm going there, I'm going to get it. That's it. And so sometimes, Robert Greene was saying, you need to also be realistic. You need to have a plan B. If you have a family, you need to still be able to keep them safe and provide and all of that. But this time, if they didn't make the hiring process so annoying, complicated, I'm spending my done 7 years. I've spent the past 5 applying for jobs instead of playing with them. What a waste of freaking time, just applying. I'm not saying a waste of time for interesting jobs that I really want to work on. No, like I said, I learned from the organizations. It was interesting, that helped me build my network. But I'm talking about this little elementary job. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm going to do a data entry job just to collect a couple of hundreds. I'm going to go work at the school next door just to get a part-time something. All this stuff takes time and my time, and in the end there's no result. This stuff are email schemes that never lead to anywhere. You really wonder, where are the jobs actually? And that is wasting your time, your energy. I was like, I'm not going to spend the day today going through data entry jobs offers and sending resumes. I'm going to go do something with my son. I have my plan. I'm going there or nothing. Shall I die? I'd rather, I can't say I've worked for all that and not get what I want. Okay, I know you don't always get what you want, but the only way you're not going to get it if you stop trying. This is a mentality that we need to give to the kids. My child is tries something once and he's done. If I wasn't so busy looking for a job, I could actually educate him in becoming that person, and that's what I don't like. One thing I don't like about that is when they're making the process so difficult. Yes, you got to be selected. It's the natural selections, right? Those who stay till the end, eventually one of them will have the chance to be selected, or one of them, or 2 of them, or many of them. Okay, so that's also the natural selection process, because they have so many people that they're making it hard. But once you know that you're gonna hire someone, why are you making so many tests and the process so difficult? Because this is, like I said, this is time that I'm not teaching my son, because I'm keep trying. It's great. I'm happy. I'm creating this content for you guys. I hope that when eventually I work at the United Nations and I have, this is right now, this video is for the presidents and trying to find a peace for Ukraine and our global situations. But I created this series originally also because when I am working at the United Nations, when I do work with young leaders, when I do work with partners, or go deliver books and workshops and capabilities in Middle East or Africa or South America or in America, communities anywhere, or with other organizations and partnerships, I can just tell them, hey, you're looking for a job? Go check my United Series videos and do what I did. Look how much I had to do. Look, this is how you talk to these people. Look, this is how you present your motivation letter. This is what I put in my book as well. Or people who is like, oh, I'm not feeling creative, I want to do something. Hey, you're gonna go to my Metatrons class and you're gonna do this class and this class and this class. It's free, it's available on my website, and it's all that. So this is also why I recorded all this process, because it's creating content for the next, like what António Guterres and Mr. Moratinos, they did, like I was saying, this ant work of creating pathways for all their career that now allows us to go so much faster and reach our destination faster. Maybe for me it's a struggle at the moment, but maybe it's 5 years, and for them it took 30 years. So in the end, looking back, 5 years to get there is pretty good. What Tony Robbins says, it's like you're cutting, a decade into a couple of years, few years. So by recording this video, I'm doing the same thing for you. Okay, the people who will come here have access to all that knowledge, all that information, and it stays, and you're creating a legacy. So my advice for those new or younger people who are watching is to reference everything that you're doing. When you're working something, collect reference letters. When you go on trip, take pictures. When I started writing my travel books, it was for my grandkids. I was like, I'm writing travel books for my kids and grandkids. So when I'm older and even I don't remember, I will have my travel books and I can put them, and my grandkids can be like, wow, grandma did all this. That's crazy. Wow, everything. That's so cool, you know? And then I thought it was for my grandkids, but now I see people going to Mexico. I write to them. I'm like, hey, this is my itinerary I had in Mexico. There's some sites you absolutely need to go to Calakmul, or you know, that are less known than the general tours and stuff. And then they help me as well, because I go back to it and I'm like, I see how there were signs placed in my journey all along the way, just so I could find them later, right? Success leaves clues, and sometimes there's a higher power that flows through you or through the people you meet. For example, when I was in Mexico during that trip, when I saw the spaceship and everything, I talked about it in the previous video, we met a couple that I still have on Facebook, really nice. We met a couple, so Daniel and I, that was our honeymoon in Mexico, okay? So we just had gotten married and moved back to the US. We meet that couple that were at the next stage, and they were married and they were having their second baby. You know, they were having a first baby or second baby, I don't remember. And so she was pregnant and they were like, oh yeah, I was just about to have the baby. And that was so crazy because I was like, we just met us in a year or in 2 years, you know. And I really felt like meeting those people, and they were like, oh yeah, we already have one child, it's so wonderful, you know, and now we're so happy to gonna have another one and all of that. And I told him, I was like, that's crazy, why did we meet those people? And as a matter of fact, like, we came back and a month later I was pregnant, you know. So, and a year later we had Esteban. Got a couple of times, but so, you know, through your journey, the people you meet, the things you see, it's always signs. But looking back, everything you've referenced and you referred to, you realize how you're actually never alone and how guided you are. And seeing those signs helps you feel less lonely. If that's your thing in your life, that you feel lonely, you don't have your family around, refugees who's been around and they're away from their family, or immigrants who have a hard time finding a job, but they're resourceful, they already crossed the country, now they're bringing a skill, or their artesanillas from South America and everything. Me working at the United Nations, I would like to contribute to projects that creates art galleries and stuff, like I said, that people can bring the cultures, and we have more walking culture, because here we don't walk anywhere, we're disconnected, we go from point A to point B, so we don't have that experience of walking around and interacting with people. So I really think we should have more little shops, people bringing their art, and encourage people to buy, because here in Jacksonville everything is closing. All the good stuff, they're closing because people don't buy. We have this little water park, Adventure Landing, it's closing at the end of the year because people don't go. People are broke and they don't want to invest into other businesses, you know. The culture is disappearing. So building the masterminds and making people more knowledgeable in marketing and stuff, this is the new age, the internet, the age of the internet. We need to use that to learn to know about each other, you know. But never forget the importance of human interaction, okay? Eye to eye, skin to skin, going to the market, meeting the people, being there. Because through the internet you have a screen, in between you have the soul connection. It's beautiful because it's also a soul connection. You get to meet someone's soul before you look at them in the eyes, you know. So that's also a deeper connection. But at the same time, when the screen is off, you look around and you're like, where is the human, where is the people, you know. So making a balance, don't let AI become your life. Use it to spread your message so we can gather and create that life. Okay, so I think this is a great way to conclude. It's been 2 hours. If you want to learn more about Dean Graziosi, download my encyclopedia, Pachamam Art Encyclopedia. We wrote it almost kind of together. I followed all his work alongside that I was writing it. There is a lot of his work and the masterminds works and training programs in there. He inspired so much. He inspired me so much in keep going. Like everything I accomplished in the past few years, I have to say it's because he was the voice telling me to keep going and give me the strategies and being always, a few steps there. So when I would reach that moment, I could like find him. Oh, okay, you made it. Okay, come, like let's go to the next step. This is incredible because without ever meeting or directly talking, he's able to do that. So massively taking this formula and replicating for all his audience and our community. Obviously, it's changing, the mindset also around us, and even values and life of relationships and how to treat your spouse, or how, simple stuff that he tells, like how he behaves with his kids, or if someone cuts you off on the road, and you're like screaming and stuff, stuff that really don't matter, and how we get mad about. All right. Okay, thank you for watching, everybody. The next video is going to be about partnerships and what was the goal? Partnerships and, I lost it. Oh yeah, partnerships for the goals, simply. So I'm going to be introducing all the partners, right? And I'm going to be reading some extracts from Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. I hope you like this series. Thank you for watching and have a great day, everybody. Bye.